Hey everyone, welcome to Session 8. So I think tonight we are finally going to get out of Zbrush. In your absence, my UV unwrap did crash, unfortunately. Well, it ran out of RAM. I need to upgrade to 4.7 and get a 64-bit. But I did go ahead and I Z-remeshed my original and then projected that on. I'll show you the workflow real fast, and then just regrouped my low-res mesh to make my UVs again, and did the workflow exactly how I said I would. I'll walk through it real fast, but no need to just kind of bore you with the monotony of it. I'd like to move on to some other stuff, so I took the 20 minutes ahead of time and just did that to spare you. So, a couple of things. I wanted to cover some topics, real fast, kind of off-topic things that I've had a couple of questions from some people out there. One of them, and let's see which one I may find. Okay, so, all right, Adam Portilla had hit me up and was asking me about, looking at his work and his reel and whatnot, and so I had some thoughts, and I thought they could be constructive for a number of people. Right out the gate, there's some stuff on here that looks really nice. Some of the details and things like that are really coming together. There are also some things that are not as nice, not as refined. So I think this is something that we all do, and we all need to to focus on putting our best foot forward and omitting the things that just aren't showing what we want. So let's go in. So like this is a great image, and certainly on its way to being a great image. How you present this, and perhaps going in and showing some wipes in the reel and what you've done. I know you show like a wireframe in your reel, but you could go ahead and show the passes that you do if you do any compositing. If you wanted to add some kind of fog elements or volume light or something in here, you could. Just little things to gussy it up, but there's lots of nice details. You could also pop a couple of angles off of this, put a camera somewhere else. Is it possible to get an image or two or three out of this without having to do that much more work? Just showcasing the things that you've done. I mean, you could even throw like a camera down here and knock off some sort of macro. If you really spent the time modeling this thing out and it's just like super, whip-ass, then show that. You were talking about using something else to show, your great modeling skills, but it's possible just to use this model and this environment that you've already lit and whatnot to showcase your skill set. So you could also, does this have a lot of detail? Did you texture it really well? There's some details here that imply that you put a lot of work into this area, but I can't totally tell. You could, again, rack the lens and do a cool, like, depth of field macro shot up on this area and showcase that. So this really working quite well. This guy, not, working so well. It's not that he doesn't have the bones there that he could, but things that frighten me are, and any one of us, like, when we're looking at reels and things like that, it's like, okay, this guy did this, and then this. So one, it tells me, you were trying to maybe like broaden your skill set, but maybe you just kind of missed. Maybe this isn't your thing. But if it's not your thing, I wouldn't show it, and stick with the things that are your thing. So this is really working. This guy's certainly off to a good start. You could add some little refined stuff in there. That wall is a little soft, and then the intersection between these two is a little lacks some connection. These areas, like some of this is looking pretty good. That's, you know, really nice. The feather, all of this is good. This seam, and this seam, like, all stick out. Any way that you can get, like, the dirt from this onto this wall, and then even, like, this would be worn, like a desk that's sitting up next to a rock wall, you know, gets worn. So can you show that over time? You know, this to me, you know, these late night studying, researching, this lacks some of the, like, age and wear, and it's not completely conveying the story yet. You have all the elements there. You've got the candle, but again, you know, there's no dripping wax and stuff like that. Like, take this, the level of detail and everything that you did here, like, this is all, you know, really great. I like the little fuzz there and stuff, you know, good stuff. And bring that to this guy. It doesn't have to be, like, real float or anything like that. You can just, you know, model in some wax, some dripped wax, and then some, you know, crusty aged wax where it's like, you know, maybe the thing was sitting over here last night when this person was here studying, and then it moved over to here when they came back or something like that. Yeah, and Jerry says he feels like the images can be larger since it's a portfolio, and I agree. Yeah, the nameplate is super prominent, especially the color and whatnot. So those are my thoughts on this image. It's got all the right components. I think you could, like, finish it off rather than doing something new. I think this guy could be closer than this guy. And then you also have to consider, like, what are you applying for? Yeah, it takes away from the image. It's like, if you can make this, like, smaller, or, you know, when you go to other pages, you know, more understated. But, you know, there's character guys, there's environment guys, there's all these different things, and certainly you want to be, if you can, a generalist, and that's a great, you know, a great thing to be. But again, you know, this guy is not as good as this, so don't show it. This could get there, and, you know, the camera is not necessarily my favorite. You might be a little bit closer if you, like, turned on some depth of field, brought the camera down. We're looking at this a little bit more angled, and you cease to kind of have this, like, intersection thing going down here. So it's something to think about. But, you know, and then you've got this, like, big, large-scale environment. Also, a lot of things working here, you know, for you. You could possibly, and you probably can, pop off multiple images from within this environment. I know you made it all completely 3D, so you could come in here and, like, the heavily, you know, depth of field shot. You've got, like, one big master shot, and then one that, like, looks back and is depth of field and everything bokeh, maybe something over here on the stairs. Look for opportunities within your, you know, existing work rather than remodeling something, and you can create a pretty, you know, broad portfolio. This car, again, you know, kind of not working, and I'm gonna kind of go over some automotive stuff later, not anytime soon, in a couple of months, but automotive can be a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it and the knack for it, it's pretty easy. But, you know, headlights and markers and all of those things, those are the first signs, like, when a car is just kind of not quite done right. The paint's getting in the right neighborhood. Brake, the calipers here, not quite right. Way too shiny. The tires, again, not quite right. Modeling looks really good. So maybe if you wanted to show just a turntable wireframe or something, but then you're basically saying, well, I'm a modeler, when this shows, like, if you can knock this out, I'm a texture artist, modeler, and lighter. Again, same thing. Again, same thing. Again, same thing. Then you would just be showing, you know, one skill set. Same thing here if you did the same, you know, kind of simplified this. Perhaps have a resume downloadable on your folio page just so people can get a better idea on your experience and perhaps education. Yep, for sure. So then this guy, I see you have like work in progress here. I don't think that one's there. This is your reel, as I recall. Are these like turntables of these things? Or do they both go to your reel? It's really fast. There's also like no interior on this guy. Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you do like turntables of the things that I think are not the strongest and not helping you the most. So I would focus on these other images that you're kind of leading with and maybe get rid of the other ones. And as you know, as Jerry and everybody's kind of saying, you know, bigger images, this kind of, the prominence of it can go away. And I think even, you know, orange is definitely, you know, poppy. Even things like this, you know, the volume light little godway thing, I don't know. I think understated for the most part is really like where it's at. If it's not going to be totally amazing, just don't do anything. Like, just put your name and contact info, and that's it. Because you're not going to be judged on what you didn't do. You know, just because you don't have a fancy nameplate and all this stuff blowing up in the beginning or fluids spelling your name, nobody gives a shit. If you do it and it's really good, people will be like, oh, that's cool. But if you don't and it's just white text on a black background and then you come out swinging with your first piece, well, like, they're going to sit back and watch. And then on your reel, this is just the still. I would say, you know, you ended with this. Don't end with this guy. Like, end with this, you know, open with this, or this, or, you know, or finish this off and make it bigger and open with that. But those would be kind of my, you know, my thoughts on that. But yeah, definitely quality over quantity, and if you can get some more out of these guys that you've put time and effort into, I would do that. Yeah, and then the website, just understated. Like, get rid of the, I don't know. This is my personal taste, so you can take that or leave it. But I would get rid of the drop shadow, white haloing, stuff like that. It's just anything, believe me, when you sit in like a portfolio review and you listen to guys, like anything at all that's gonna make somebody like, eesh, like, I don't like that, that you're like done. The second somebody says, and it can be on your website, it can be anywhere. So you want to give people the least amount of opportunity to judge what you've done. Some people are just super judgmental when it comes to this stuff. And when you've got hundreds of reels to go through and all of this, you kind of have to be. You have to look at every little thing that you've done and kind of pick it apart. So those are my thoughts for you on that. Anybody else have anything to add to that? And while I'm doing that, okay, and then Wojtek has been nice enough to share a new image that he's starting to work on. This is kind of some of the reference for it. He's looking at doing a train station that is decayed and whatnot, and I think that's cool. Like, I love this image. This, you know, as small as it is, beautiful. I think this is Detroit Opera House. That was somewhere on the internet recently. But yeah, two very cool ones. So, you know, I see he's in the preliminary stages. You're welcome, Adam. W is always an Wojtek is always an overachiever. So he's in the preliminary stages and just starting to like mass everything out. Obviously, this is going to be a train. Good to have a scale figure in here. Little massing model. what's interesting to me is that you start with like this round window, and that it's cool. Like, I like what you've done with this, but you're kind of like avoiding the elephant in the room here, and the elephant in the room is this, you know, the train. So, I mean, I would start as quickly as you can getting more and more to this, because while, you know, there's simply the architecture that you're looking to, you know, highlight, and it's definitely a major player to this image, it's a train station and you have a train in it. So you're talking, you know, these two massive things competing against each other, and how are you going to play this thing off of the environment and lighting it and all of these things, you know, is really going to become, I think, you know, a focus and something to consider. So I would start getting more detail on this, less detail in your environment, and start to frame up a camera or two or three, or, you know, however many you're thinking of doing, that are kind of giving you what you want, and then go from there. I like the concept. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is it's cool, looks beautiful, but, you know, that is I don't even know where that is in that image. Yeah, there it is. That's this window back here, I'm assuming. Like, it's such a tiny little component, and it's cool. We all got to start somewhere, and that's like, you just start picking away at something, and then that's cool. So that's what I have to say about this at this point. Anybody else want to add anything to it? Yeah, there'll be a lot of, you know, these repeating arches and this type of stuff, like, really adds, you know, gives you a lot of time to, like, you model one, detail it up real well, and then do some, like, texture variations and things like that, and it gives you a ton of bandwidth, sorry, for, you know, for your efforts. I will spit the words out. So very cool. Thank you for sharing, Wojtek. Thank you for sharing, Adam. Good stuff. Chaos, you are welcome. Right, so here is the tree. Now, as I said, when I UV'd this guy, it didn't go so well. Ran out of memory. So one of the cool things about Zbrush is it's fairly non-destructive. If you kind of get somewhere, you hit a wall, and things aren't working, there are some tools that can kind of dig you out of a corner. And so I was kind of in a corner. You know, nobody puts baby in a corner. So what I did, and I'm just going to scrap this file. I had my, well, actually, I can just kind of show you. All right, so I had my tree as you had seen it last. All right, so this was the tree, all sculpted up and everything, and you can use this tool, geometry, Z-remesher. Okay, so when you remesh it and you make a duplicate of it, right? I went up here, I copied it, and I made this hero tree remesh. Okay, that tree, then I came down, said Z-remesh, and it remeshed it, and it gave me something kind of like this. I then, with my low-res mesh, just one time did a project. So in the subtools, you go here, project, and you have to have the thing that you want to project to turned on. And I said project all, and technically it's probably not really needed at that subdivision level. I just did it just in case. Then I came and under my geometry, I subdivided this thing a whole bunch of times until I was close to, you know, what my other tree was. So it was like 6 million. This guy's about 5 million. And then again, come back under subtools and project all again. And then it projected all of the detail from this guy onto this guy at a higher resolution. Now I have the same tree, but higher resolution. But before doing that, sorry, skipping a step, I took this guy, and let me just isolate him. Frick. There we go. Okay, so at the lower subdivision level, which is down here, at the lowest subdivision level, I made the polygroups just like I showed you before. Okay? So nothing different. Going in, hiding, growing it. So, you know, and you'll notice now, like, this thing goes lickety split, right? Or wicked fast. So did that, made my groups, and before I made all my subdivisions, I then came in, and just like I showed in the last one, so all the steps were same, or, you know, are the same. But then I said polygroups and unwrap, and what you'll see is button is only allowed to mesh without. Oh, I subdivided this thing, so it's not going to let me subdivide or unflatten. But then if you hit flatten, you'll see that there are indeed UVs on this thing, and every one of these is opened and splayed out. They're kind of all over the place, but it's fine. Everything is UV'd. That's the most important thing. And then I have a UV'd model that is of relatively the same resolution. So I can go back up here to subdivision 4 and turn off my polygroups, and now you see same tree. And there's a little bit of detail loss, but it's not going to matter. I'm going to put bark and all sorts of stuff on this. You know, a lot of this stuff is just going to become invisible. It's more just to, like, you know, break up silhouettes and give some kind of added variation to stuff. Bark is really going to do a doozy on this thing, and then even adding ivy and extra little branchy twiggy bits. So the one thing I have done in the past with, like, trees is well, first let's talk about some textures. So one place I go, CG textures, to get bark and things like that, and I'll do this even if I'm on, or even if I'm going into Mari and whatnot. And, you know, ultimately, if I can get, like, higher res stuff, sometimes I'll shoot my own. For this, I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm just going to use some free stuff out there. What is out there will work. You can get stuff, you know, that will totally work. We've been using, you know, CG textures for a long time at Blur, and so have a lot of people. So this stuff will work, and it'll be totally fine. So I'm going to download this guy, this tiled guy, to 3K. And I did at some point, I think. And he's still going. Okay. And come on. Alright. So one thing you can do, and I'm not going to put that bark on it in ZBrush, but what I am going to do, and this is what I'm going to do, is resolution dependent, and right now I'm only at like 5 million polys on a relatively large object. I can subdivide this one more time, but it's going to become prohibitive to do some other things if I do that. I'll be upwards of 12 million or 16 million polys, and probably baking out the maps will crash with the memory. There'll be all sorts of stuff that memory just won't go. That being said, though, not super concerned. One thing I do like to do, though, is go to surface, and you can make a noise, and you can go alpha, and I'm going to grab this bark, and now it's going to apply a noise. This thing never works the way you want it to. You're a bastard. Use the force. All right. So I'm going to apply this in a 3D nature. I do have UVs, but I kind of want something a little bit more random and whatnot. I want this guy to go positive, and you'll see like it's just adding a little bit of like noisy bitty shitty stuff. And I'm going to scale it. Now, what is important to remember, if you are going to Dynamesh or decimate this and take it back into ZBrush, not as quads or not using a displacement workflow, this is totally stupid to do. Do not do this. You are like wasting polygons and detail. If you're going to use a 32-bit displacement, then this is fine. You'll actually get this detail. You'll retain a lot of it. So don't do this if you're planning on, you know, just ultimately decimating this guy. And I'm going to make it a little stronger than what it actually is going to be, because once I project this down onto this, you're going to see it's going to be much less because I'm only at 5 million polys. Okay, so I would like to start a junior TD. Should the show reel show lots of iterations of an effect? Okay, give me a minute to come back to that question. Let me finish this out and I'll hit that question. So you'll see, like, I've got some where it's going this way, I've got some where it's going up, and that's all cool. Like, you know, trees have lots of variation. So even when I put the bark back up on top of this, this will just add some extra little detail. But again, I'm not going to get all this detail because I don't have that resolution. And what you see right here, this is not what you're going to get. So you have to apply this to the mesh. I'm going to say 2 and apply to mesh. And now you'll see what I'm actually going to get. And, you know, that's significantly less. And it's also I think, too lumpy. So I'm going to undo and say 1 and apply to mesh. And that's still too much. I'm just looking for a little bit of breakup here. Oh, will it not let me go below 1? Oh yeah, and you can see the way it just like inflates it ever so slightly. And that'll probably be, I think I can live with that. It's just a little extra something, you know, that I don't have to go in and like sculpt every little detail onto this thing. And what we could do is, instead of applying it to the mesh as a whole, you can come in and you can mask areas out. Let's say I didn't want this on the faces or around the faces. Because I've got, you know, other plans for those. Just control-click on your mask to soften it slightly, and then say apply to mesh. So now everything else is getting it, but the faces are left with their, you know, kind of naked self. And really, we could do that in kind of a couple areas. Maybe in here, I want this to be more like worn wood or something like that. So you can get kind of, you know, get crafty. Based on, you know, what you're thinking for your textures down the road. Oops. All right. on it one time, just to soften it a little bit. Oh, had I already applied it? Prick. Damn you. Ugh. Pay attention, Chad. I don't know that I have the undos to bring this guy back. Yes, I do. Okay, real fast. Right. Why the fuck am I drawing with a mouse? What are we making here? We are making a crazy demon tree, or something. I don't know if it's a demon tree or not, but the image on the lower left, basically. Nope. Okay, so while I'm doing this, let's talk about TD reel and effects and whatnot. Okay, so the question is, you'd like to start as a junior TD, and should the show reel show lots of iterations of an effect, or effect look dev, or should it be more one refined with shots fully comped and refined? If you are not looking to complete shots, or be like the guy that does the shots, then I would focus on the tools. I'd look at guys like Clovis Gay and Eric Moots, you know, their reels. Even like John Martini, he's another guy that does like a lot of tool development. Very, very talented guy. All three of those guys, like, super fucking skilled. They are great TDs. Eric Moots is great effects TD and just TD or whatever he is. Whatever it is that he considers himself, he's really good at it. So I think, like, you know, there are kind of different categories and even different types of effects TDs. So you kind of have to decide what you want to be and then go from there. Now, certainly those guys, like, you know, Martini, I know he knows how to light and he can do other stuff, and he certainly will show other stuff, but a lot of it focuses on tool development and the tools that he makes. And, you know, that's kind of, I guess, what you need to decide. So Eric Moots, John Martini, and Clovis Gay. He's another one. Really good. That would be a creepy tree. The horrible faces are inspired by Cherry. Or just my bad skills. And I don't mean bad and like, you so bad. I'm gonna get you sucker type of way. Yes. I'm quoting, I'm gonna get you sucker. I'm not quoting it, but referring to it. I love that movie. Fucking cracks me up. So, that would be kind of my recommendation on that. Look at those guys' things and their work, and, you know, mostly decide, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, eh? But definitely start there. Alright, now apply to mesh and get rid of that mask. Alright, now we've got some noise some places, noise not other places, and that's cool. Like, that'll help, you know, these little areas if I want to make them kind of worn wood in there, and then these guys, this is going to be where bark is. There'll be some worn wood in here. It's just like little touches here and there will help to pull that stuff out. So again, over here, maybe this is kind of worn off bark and whatnot. So that's all just with this surface, adding a custom map in the noise, not really caring, you know, as far as like the UVs or what it's doing. I'm just looking for some random breakup, something that's going to look interesting. Alright. So I'm going to save. version up. And all right. So now we have a sculpted UV'd object that we can export out to Max or Maya, whatever package you are working in. I'm choosing to work in Max. I know it's been a while since I've been in there, but that's where we are now headed. All right, so things we talked about before, when you do go to export this, don't have the groups on. I want to retain my groups while I'm in here in Zbrush, so I'm not going to blow them away, but I am going to turn off the groups. I'm going to make sure I'm using 4K UV maps, and I'm going to start by exporting this guy in my from Zbrush, and I don't want to export 5 million polys, right? I don't want subtools. I don't want to export this either and use a displacement. Joe Gunn, yeah, thank you, Jerry. I don't know why I omitted him, but another really good one. Good ad. So I also don't want to just export this and count on the displacement map to do all of the work. What is that? Whoop. Let's just clean that slightly. So we got to go somewhere in between. I just want to check that I didn't like mega fuck something up with that. No, I think we're good. Okay, so we want to go somewhere in between 4 and 1. 3, that gets us at 1.2 million. Still probably a little bit much, but 2, about 300,000. That's going to be okay. So this is the resolution I'm going to export, and then I'm going to displace on top of that. Sorry, long day at work. Doing fluids, the complete opposite of this. So let's export from ZBrush, not subdivision 3. Going to do subdivision 2. Save. So that's writing out my OBJ. Back in ZBrush, or in Max. Delete that guy. Import subdivision 2. And yeah. Oh, you idiot. Wow. Not the sharpest knife sometimes. Okay is the proper response here. Do you use GoZ at all? Like, at one point I tried, and it was, kind of like the great new thing, and meant to save us all. And at that point, it was so long ago, it just didn't work. And so I never really used it again. Kind of stupid that way. But, I've heard kind of mixed reviews about it, I guess. We don't really use it a whole lot at work, or I don't think anybody does. I don't know. I haven't. I've been meaning to check it out again, though. I don't think there's anything wrong with it necessarily. It's just hasn't been on the list of things to do. Okay, so we've got our tree in. Now I'm just going to save this up, and we need to export displacement maps so we can get all of our detail back. Alright, so going back to ZBrush, bring this guy up. Alright, now we're going to go to Multimap, Exporter, Displacement, and Export Options, and I am going to consult my handy document. You cannot remember everything, so I have a little cheat sheet. Alright, and it's what I'm going to show you, so you can kind of write this down. Oh, I happen to have it all, I think, set. Yeah, look at that. All right, so not all of these are the defaults when you open up your displacement map options, okay? So first things first, I want to export a 4K map. I want to export 32-bit EXRs. I want them to be adaptive. I want my DP subpix, whatever the hell that is, to be 0. My mid to be 0. 3 channels, scale is at 1, intensity is at 1. Okay, those are the big things. Then I'm going to create maps. Going to ask me, where do you want to put it? Zbrush maps, and it says TIFF, but it's line. And it's going to create that, and it might take a minute. Can you hide the reference image real quick or undo? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Let me actually leave that there and turn that off. Okay, so that should have gone away. And it's exporting. I'm going to show you my secrets and keep it all hidden under this image. That's awesome. Fooled you. Okay, and this can take a minute, and it's one of those things like, don't touch anything, or you'll piss off the ZBrush gods. I might have already pissed it off. I don't know why it's like that. It's just like, if you do something, and then it's mad. Uh-oh. Buffering. This says we're still good, but over here it doesn't look so good. Come on, baby. Are you getting spinning wheel? Looks like it's down, but I'm not sure. I'm still waiting on this. Yep, yes. Rest in peace, huh? Okay. All right. It's back. Good. Back just in time for the maps to finish exporting. They're doing it. I swear. Come back. Come back. Come on. Is it back? I don't see it. Come on. Export the map. Let's see what my... Yeah, I don't think it's that it's taxing it. Oh yeah, you tell him, Moobot. Come the fuck on. Let's go see if it has created it yet. Zbrush maps. Looks like it's creating it one directory above. Try refreshing or still getting the spinning wheel. Yep, it's back. Okay. Back for me on refresh. I will refresh. Let me see if this is still adding data to this guy. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so it might. Let's open up Photoshop and see what I got. And checking if this guy opens or if it just like shit the bed midway through. Come on. Oh, that's hot. Okay, so this is what it's given me thus far. This shit's super hot. Looks like it's got some overlapped something or another. That when it unwrapped, it like did not resolve. So that's some baddies. I think it crashed too. No? Oh. You fucker. What the hell? I don't know what it's doing. It's toying with my emotions. I don't want you to keep doing this. I'm certainly not writing out any more maps. Stop. Yeah, close the program. Okay. All right. Now this is one of those things, I know I've had this. Sure, you would unwrap the low poly and then take it up to high res. No. Yes, that's what I did. Unwrapped the low res. And then took it to high res. I think that's what he did. Yep. But unwrap. No, unwrap is in Zbrush. Yeah, it's weird. Thought I told it to put it there. Apparently I did not. Alright. I remember having this issue once. I don't remember having it since. So lucky me! It's my lucky day. Welcome to the dark side of tutorials. This is what gets like edited out. Bleep, 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 motherfucker, that didn't work. Alright. So let's go around. Make sure everybody's happy in their life. I think Chad's just staying in ZBrush for the unwrapping. Yes, that is correct. It could just be some like little baddie somewhere that got like ticked off when I unwrapped it. It could be one of these like squiggly little guys as well, but you know. And then also, let me, polygroups, similar groups, stray groups. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got, like, everything has a group. Because it could be like one of these. Oh, I bet that's what it is. It's probably one of these cheeky little fuckers. Group visible. It's just like a little guy being a dirty bastard. Alright, so, again, I don't know why I even have this set up like this. Bygone era. Alright, UV master, polygroups. Now I think, as I recall, never unwrapped in Zbrush. Yeah, it can be so fucking sweet. I think because I have subdivisions, it's going to make me make a clone. Right? Let's see. It'll probably take it a minute. Frequently when you have like higher subdivision levels, you have to work on a clone object. But maybe not. How do you balance work, family, and find time to learn new skill sets? Yeah, that's... Isn't that the trick? It's complicated. It's the best answer I can get. Yeah, he doesn't. It's not really a balance, per se. I think it's more like, you know, I can do it in spurts, and that's the best way I can approach it. So sometimes I go through phases where I just don't try to do anything extra, and then other times I'll go through phases where I'm just like trying to ingest as much as I possibly can, and it's, you know, that kind of that balance, doing it when I want to do it and never just like making myself do it. That's always been really important to me. And then, what's he saying? Unwrapping in Zbrush is great when you know you're going to use procedural textures. Actually, I'm not going to use procedural textures. I'm going to Mari this bad boy. So, it's going to go from here. Then I'm going to go into Max, just make sure everything is running smooth. I'm going to make some UDIMs inside of Max to set it up so I can have larger scale textures, and then I'm going to take it into Mari, use Mari to paint across all the seams, get nice texture maps out of, and then bring that back into Max and go that way. So this will not be for procedural stuff. It's also good for that though as well. Chaos D's, check out the Gumroad tutorial from this Blizzard Argus, Chuck Khan. Yeah, he uses Zbrush to unwrap via UV Master and it looks better than the unwrap. Yeah, if you know what you're doing with this thing, with the UV Master, you can really get some really great results. And it, you know, depending on what you're unwrapping, it can take time. I don't remember it taking this much time last time. I might need to work on a clone. And it's fine. You can say, like, work on a clone, take the lowest subdivision level, you can copy the UVs and then paste the UVs back onto another object. And that's probably what I'll do. I think this is hanging. So back at it. Come on. Here's where it's going to tell me that my last session crashed. As if I didn't know that. Before I even close this, I'm just going to get rid of this. because I don't want it. New load tool. This is deja vu. Twitch stream month1 week 8. We are going to fucking get out of ZBrush. I swear to God. Go back in, get all those groups again. You cheeky little bastard. You don't own me. Oh, come on. I'm just very comfortable with the unwrap in Max. Yeah. What those guys were saying, use what you're comfortable with. Dude. You are seriously pissing me off. Alright, go down in res, very important. We got a stray guy there too. Yeah, these stray guys they'll fuck you. Although they do seem to be in some sort of group. No. I think they're together. No. It's gotta be one of these little fuckers. Alright. Polygroups. Group visible. The bummer about it too is you don't see it in the unwrap. It's like when you export out the maps is your first indication of it. So that's a little disheartening. Alright, so subtool, UV master. Alright, so this guy, he's pretty high res, so I'm gonna say work on clone. So now I've got this cloned guy here, and I'm gonna polygroups, unwrap, and it's gonna take it a minute. I'm not going to tick it off or click on anything. Let him do his thinking. Go faster. This is when I need some sort of other entertainment. Well, I don't know, man. It's so tempting to do something else. I love to tempt fate. So one thing I did do was I selected my camera and I made it a 28mm as opposed to a 35mm, just to push things back yet a little bit more. Render. So motion blur off, depth of field off. Let's just see what this guy's looking like at this point. And so this is no displacement, anything. We could try and use that displacement map. Oh, it's very nice. So, you know, I mean, there's not a lot of like little details and things like that yet. But once we start to get texture maps and displacement, that's all going to start to come together. I want to rotate this guy just a touch. Not that this is like final lighting or anything, but I like to have something to evaluate with, and ultimately, come on, you. Zbrush and Max fight. Let's see who wins. Looks like Zbrush. Do. He's still going? Yeah, Zbrush is still thinking. It's cruising. Max, though, is... Oh, yes. They're infamous. My frame buffer sucks. Alright, so one thing I'll do... Did I close that guy? Yeah, I did. Alright. In addition to a dome light, is I will also throw in a sun, and that's under lights, not under primitives. And V-Ray sun. And no, I don't want an environment map because I've already got this dome light in there. And what you'll first notice is like, holy crap, like that guy's intense. So I'm not using exposure on my camera or anything like that. So my intensity multiplier is going to have to go down like 0.03 or something like that. And I'm also going to increase the size to like 3 just to soften his shadows just a scotch. So now if I render, and obviously I will have to line these two guys up where this sun is and where this light is, but it at least starts to give me some sort of like, you know, key light. This guy being more, you know, the dome being more of a fill, and then the sun being kind of the key light, and I can adjust the intensity. If you bring it down, it's going to get more like oranges. Bring it up, it becomes more white and kind of, you know, brighter yellow and whatnot. Maybe 7. And that's probably too much. And this is all to just evaluate, you know, kind of what's going on. It's not to say that this is somehow going to represent or be indicative of the final lighting for the shot. But I do like to know what details are popping out, what things are working, what things are not. Okay, let's gingerly move. Yes. Okay, so that worked. Now I want to copy my UVs. And where'd it go? Are you fucking kidding me? You dick. And paste UVs. No, it... Oh, duh. God, Chad. You'd think I'd have this down by now. And on this guy, he's the low res. So I just made a clone over here. Sorry. And I want to paste the UVs onto this object. So it's subdividing, it's doing its thing for a minute. But it's basically going to take the UVs from that low res clone and apply it to this object. And it has done so. But what we can do over here, if I'm on this object, and you'll see it's got no subtools, is I can say flatten. And you'll see, like, there's all my stuff. Now, what you don't see are those little jaggy dude jobbers that were there when I baked this map before. And they weren't there then either. So, unfortunately, like I said, it's one of those things that you discover it when you go to bake this shit, which is frustrating. But, you know, ZBrush can't be perfect. It would be nice. I would never leave. Crawl into a ZBrush womb. This game looks hard. Hey Dan, how's it going, man? Ladies and gentlemen, Uber Muffin is Dan Wojcik of Quixel Megascans. You are outed. He's here asking me questions that you want. Okay, so now I've got those UVs pasted onto my remeshed guy, and I want to go back up to my second subdivision level because one, I need to re-export this guy back out to max. So again, because I crashed and closed, you got to check this. Groups, I do not want groups to be exported, and texture map, UV map, yeah, I'm still going 4K, and export, not that it matters there necessarily, but I still just like to check. So this is subdivision 2, and I'm going to call this VOO2. Alright, so exporting that guy. So the OBJ is done. Now, again, I'm going to make the maps. So, holy hell. I can't find my multi-map exporter. And export options, so that image is gone now. And now you'll be able to see. So the displacement map options for 32-bit. So again, as I said before, adaptive is checked. The DP subpix is 0, mid is 0, smooth UVs is off. 32-bit EXR, scale of 1, intensity of 1. All right, and again, create map. And from Zbrush maps, I'm gonna call this displacement map. And now it's going to go and create that guy again. And hopefully this time he's not all bajanky. We'll find out. Go, baby, go. Any questions on that workflow? It's pretty self-explanatory once you kind of get the hang of it. But you know, it's definitely something you want to write it down and put it somewhere because you'll totally forget it, and I have to refer to it every time I go to do it because it'll be like, you know, 4 months later, and I haven't even thought about ZBrush displacements in months. So I do think that it is important to take notes and write things down. I'm pretty epically terrible at it. Other friends of mine, they have, like, you know, full-on Evernotes that they pretty regularly use, and I would recommend something like that. I'm just gonna save this guy. Because we are getting out of ZBrush. I swear to God. Alright. Come on, ZBrush. Still thinking. Come on. Can't wait to see how to utilize those Megascan textures. Yes, I'm trying to get to that. That's definitely, you know, the leaves are going to be the biggest thing. They don't really have a lot of barks yet, and Dan and I have discussed the technical nuances and difficulties of capturing really awesome barks on, you know, using their method, but they are working on it. Are you streaming with XSplit? Yes, I am streaming with XSplit. So hopefully sometime in the near future they will have some more barks. They do have one. Oh, we're spinning again? Motherfucker. I think it's, yeah. ZBrush being a hog. Which is weird because I think they're both 32-bit apps. Yeah, and they're like fighting for the same resources. Come on, baby. So I think at this point, this guy... How about now? I think it's about done doing its thing, so hopefully we'll be back. Or we are back. Looks like it. Not yet. You have to refresh. I love. Alright. Preparing precision, yeah. Thanks, Zbrush. I do have a card. Yeah, I really, honestly, I didn't think it would be necessary, because, you know, when all the other apps are 64-bit and not having an issue, it's really just ZBrush and XSplit fighting with each other, and I didn't anticipate that. So it's interesting, yeah. For future ZBrush intensive, god damn it, stuff, I will definitely do that. And it just crashed. Because it's doing the same operation again. But I think we've got a map, so that's good. Alright, let's close this guy. Should be good to go. You fucking dick. The old one's better. I don't know what the hell this is. That's certainly not it. Interesting. I don't know if I saved. ZBrush, you're making me mad. Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So, Twitch stream. Class 8. Fucking with ZBrush. Take 4. No, don't divide. Okay. And Z plugins. Alright, so we've got UVs. So let's double check that. Tree. Let's go down. Work on clone. So I just made a cloned guy. You'll see 0 subtools. This guy has no subdivisions. And I want to flatten him. Alright, so he's got UVs. All should be happy in the world. Unflatten. And these are the new ones, right? Let's see. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah. Okay. So, all of that should be behaving. Alright, then we got this guy. That's subdivision level 1. And have you found the most of what you learned has been on the job versus going through tutorials? Yeah, mostly on the job. The problem with tutorials is that, you know, tutorials don't show you shit like this. You know, this is the stuff that holds us up from getting our work done. And, you know, if I were like recording a traditional tutorial for something like this, I would I'd kind of omit this because nobody wants to watch this. You are the unlucky recipient of you know, of this knowledge. But it's this shit that separates the, you know, the men from the boys, basically. We spend so much of our time fighting with stuff like this, and, you know, Digital Tutors shows you some little you know, not to bag on them, they offer a great service and they've got a lot of stuff. I've certainly watched some videos on Digital Tutors and learned some stuff, but it only takes you, you know, so far. I mean, I don't know where ultimately I'll kind of end up with this, because this is like, you know, it's much more long form, but it's a lot more like, you know, what we do on the job and that type of stuff. So yeah, a lot on the job from other people. Yeah, and I like the interactive nature of this. I like it. People being able to ask questions and also watch, you know, watching somebody like go through and figure shit out is important. All right. I'm just gonna do like a 5K or a 512 just want to see it work. All right, you bastard. Let's see if we can just get a little 512. And displacement. Yeah. 512. Yeah. Half of production work is dealing with failure. Yes, thank you, Dan. I mean, it totally is. This is like our lives, and you know, Dan knows as well as I do. I mean, we're often just sitting there, and you know, one of the guys, I'm working on this thing in Houdini right now, and it's just like, I feel like I've got Tourette's or something, because something's just like going wrong constantly on me at the moment, and I'm just over there like, fuck, oh god damn it, like banging my hand against the, you know, the table or something like that, and any one of us at any point in the day is doing the exact same thing. It's definitely interesting. So that being said, what does a good foundation look like in regards to getting into the industry? I think it depends where you want to be in the industry and what you're looking to do. You know, I kind of talked about last week, you know, on Monday, sorry, last week, days go by. On Monday, as far as, you know, finding smaller studios and little places, things like that, not always being about going to ILM, or at least not going to ILM like, you know, right out the gate. So where do you want to be, and then from there, you know, kind of assess. I think one thing I actually wanted to mention, and I forgot to say it last week, is, you know, there are a lot of side industries to what we do, like, you know, working at Blur or any, you know, VFX studio. There's also a lot of like automotive and product and architectural, and all of those are related and, you know, very closely related in some instances, depending on, you know, what studio you want to go to. A lot of guys that work at Blur now come from ArcViz backgrounds. Those guys work, you know, in like the scene assembly department, and they do environments and whatnot. So that alone, you know, going to like an offshoot industry and not going directly to like, I want to work for and do movies or whatnot, rest in peace, the ArcViz industry. But you know, that's kind of like you can still get work, and you can learn a lot of the skills, and you can meet people and all of that stuff, and that's all really important. I want to work for ILM for a bit at least. They just opened a studio in London. Yeah, I think they're doing Star Wars there. So yeah, you know, that'd be cool. But I think you can, you know, as you know, this other guy is asking, you know, getting the foundation. You can get a foundation a lot faster, and probably a better one working at one of these like smaller studios where you're expected to produce a whole lot more on a normal basis. I'm only exporting the displacement map. Why is this? This is insane. Just like keeps doing the same thing over and over and again. Kind of making me mad here. What are you doing? So yeah, I mean that's my take on it. I don't feel like you've got to. I mean, everybody wants to go and work at ILM, but you know, you see the stuff that that like IKEA's doing. Man, that shit is awesome. Like those guys, mad props. They're doing, you know, beautiful work, and that's great. You could go to, you know, go to work for the ArcViz IKEA wing and learn a ton of stuff. And then there's also really great product shit out there as well. All of it's super cool. There's tons of little studios. Analog is like a small, you know, these guys kind of come from VFX backgrounds, but if you could get into like a little studio like that, freelancing, I don't know their scale now at this point, but I think at one point they were pretty small. And then freelance at like one of these kind of up and coming places, Make in I think it's in St. Paul, like Minnesota. They're badass. They do really great work. God damn it. Like we're so spinning wheel. Come on. Gonna waste my entire class. Fucking Zbrush. House is burning. Oh yeah. I just want a decent displacement map. No, I agree with you. Working as a generalist in a small studio, from like setting up a workstation to the entire pipeline, is very nice. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Come on, be done. Zero V1, 0 V0, 0 V1. DM. These are all 0. These are both 1. What are you doing, you prick? Come on. Alright. Be small, 512 image. This should go so much faster. That's definitely what I was going for. Oh, yes! No. Prick. What are you doing? We're having malfunction of ZBrush here. Stop fucking subdividing. Stop doing the same thing over and over and over again. Dude, go fuck yourself. Okay. Try, God damn you. Okay, yeah. We're still on. Yes, thank you.
The Fisher-Price Fold Flat Space Saver Jumperoo.
Move that away from the mic.
So ingenious, you can store it almost anywhere. So fun, you just might have to. From Fisher-Price, for the best possible start.
Month1, Classic, ZBrush. Alright. You are such an asshole. What's interesting is that it was different this time than it was last time, so that's pretty frickin' sweet. I'm really, if you're not sold on UVing and ZBrush yet, you should be. One thing goes wrong and your life is ruined. You know, it can be pretty badass. But this is, you know, it's not. This is not ZBrush. This is just our lives. This is everything. Like those guys are still fucking lingering like that. Ah. Looking up the tree skirt. All right. Okay, back at it. So what we've learned is that XSplit and UVing with ZBrush, they don't play nice. So I'm gonna have to get this guy to unwrap while I'm not streaming, which is a bummer. Because at the moment, I don't have time to go and get my laptop and set up the stream card and test that, if that works. I will certainly use that method if I know I'm going to be doing something like this in the future. Because this just is not cutting it. Very much pissing me off. So, what to do? I basically need this guy UV'd or to export those textures. So that's definitely the hold up here. 'Cause that's the next thing. In order to get to Mari, to get to Max, I need the displacements out. Certainly, I have a UV'd. I have a UV guide. UV'd. Do I prefer Wacom when using ZBrush? Yeah. I have a Cintiq. It's a little guy. It's just an 11-inch. I actually ended up using it as just like a tablet. And then at the office, I have a just a Intuos 5 or whatever that thing is. All right, so. These guys should all be. Right? Yeah, okay. I did get them all. And this is that version. Yeah. Okay, good. So, save as. Let's call him 21. All right, I will get the map thing to work offline. If I have to, you know, none of us works in a vacuum, and there's always the phone a friend. It used to be that I would ask James Koo at Blur to help me, but obviously there are other guys there. James is no longer with us, unfortunately, but you can't know everything, and you can't always get every fucking thing to work. So having friends that know other stuff, you know, pretty important, pretty vital. I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that shit on export that it's doing. Last time, as I recall, fixing the that little polygroup thing fixed it, and it seemed like it wanted to work for a second, but it's definitely having a temper tantrum. Thanks, Daryl. Daryl said looks cool. He's user pick 05, another Blur guy. So I'm going to export this guy. Get rid of the groups. Export from Zbrush. Subdivision 2, VO3. I just want to make sure that the UVs on this and the UVs on what I have inside of Max, they're going to be the same. Yeah, Daryl is my go-to tech guy on for most of this stuff. So we'll be talking about my stream card that I have, and getting that working tomorrow, because that stuff was bullshit. That seems like a really... Oh, god damn it. I did the wrong subdivision. And go. Alright, so export again. Just overwrite this guy, who's too small. I wonder how Mari's gonna play with that. This is like all discovery. Well, Mari's 64-bit. I don't think it's gonna give a shit. I don't need these texture. Well, I do need texture coordinates. Normals, yeah. Okay, I don't have the material. Megascan release date, April 30th. Oh shit. Nice. That's awesome news. Alright, so we got this guy. He does have UVs. So I know this. Daryl, does Chad cuss a lot at work too? Yeah, how else are you gonna get it? Yes, thank you very much, Daryl. How else are you going to get these fucking programs to work? Yes. You have to cuss at them. Somewhere there's like a shit CG guys say, or guys in VFX say, and it's a lot of like, fuck, oh god damn it. You know, people kind of going off. Okay, so this is my unwrap, and I'm going to rename this unwrap 1 displace. So I'm going to use this guy for my displacement map, and that's about it, and I'll show you why. Very slowly, I'll show you why. All right, so all of this stuff is packed into this very small little area. And if I want to paint like an 8K, oh, look at these guys. That's interesting. We got a couple of guys off reservation here. So these are probably what's giving me a hard time in ZBrush. I wonder where those faces are. this. Really? You little cheeky bastard. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I would bet money that that's what's causing all that grief. Are these little guys. So... That's interesting because they are part of this. I mean, they're fucked up, and I didn't really care because they're going to be back behind rocks and whatever anyway. It wasn't a big deal. But that's interesting that that did that. Oh, come on, Max. Pull your head out of here. This UV editor is just... leaves something to be desired. This is why I generally avoid this thing, because it's... I mean, like, practically useless. Alright, so this is basically useless because if we want to go into Mari, I want to paint an 8K texture, it's going to be 8K over this entire slot. But really what I want is something more like, come on. Ugh. I'm just trying to select that element. This one here. Alright, so I'm going to move this onto the other window. Just so I can work. Come on. And I do actually have a pretty fast machine. So it's a testament to how fucking terrible this tool is. Okay, so let's say that branch, right? I want that to be high res. So what I'm going to do is move it. And I can get some stuff packed in with it. Come on. God. Yes, this is our life. And I want to scale them up. Control and Alt. And I'm going to wait and wait. I don't know, it might be easier to do this on the on that lower res. I don't think Max can handle this. And then just let the displacement do the work. I can ultimately just subdivide this a couple of steps and then, wow, this is just pathetic. Fucking joke. Okay, so I'm gonna go down yet another one. So only 80,000 polys. Let's see if it can do that. So division 1. And import subdivision 1. Yep. Okay, and again, with a UV unwrap. And go into element mode. Let's see if faces will go any faster. And oh, well, before I change anything, though, Okay, so as I said before, you know, this is going to be my channel 1. So I want to take this guy, I want to rename him, and then I'm going to, I always just save them, just in case. Because, you know, they're pretty easy to screw up. So I save them, and then I've got it. And then I'll load another one, unwrap UVW, and I'll make this guy map channel 2. And I want to abandon that. So now if I open this guy, you'll see, you know, that looks like shit. But 2 and say textures, right? What do you think of Unrella? I've only used it one time, and it's another one of those, like, I used it when it first came out, and it just wasn't really that good. You know, like, there was a lot of hype about it, but it definitely didn't meet up to what they were saying. But I haven't used it since. I'd like to. You know, I think any of the like automatic UVing tools, I'm all about them. I hate the process. I mean, you know, it's enough just to like get it, and then beyond that, I just don't care. I just want. I think like this is something that should totally be automated. I don't understand how we're still where we're at. We can have fluid dynamics and all this crazy shit, but like unwrapping this mesh is some like massively complicated thing. Doesn't really compute to me. Okay, so now I've got unwrap 2. This is my textures, and this is where I'm going to lay out multiple UDIMs. And I'm going to have to offline fix that stuff. But this is going to be the process. Ah, come on. It's still so slow. Come on. Come on. And waiting. UV layout. Yep. UV layout is a good one. Yeah, I haven't really used it, but I know like Carlos was really good at it, and a couple other guys were using it. Okay, so this is going to be, you know, UV00. This is going to be UV01. Next to that is UV002. I hate any automated UVs. I like to do them myself. I hate UVs. Alright, I'm just going to grab all of these guys and kind of move them over. Have I tested Keyshot? Actually, yeah, I have. At one point, last time I tested it, it was still called Bunk Speed, and then they were just going through the whole legal thing where the one guy like split off, and then what's it called? NVIDIA bought them, then RTT bought them, and kind of everybody had a piece in that pie. But yeah, I have used it, but it's been a number of years, and at the time it was super cool. It lacked, and I don't know if it's still true, but at that point it really lacked in the ability to like have mattes and holdouts and really automate a lot of things. It was still very much, you have to set everything up by scratch. And to me, that, you know, I prefer not to work that way if I don't have to. So that was the major, you know, downfall to me, especially when I'm looking to like composite something and I've got to render, you know, 15 times from the fucking thing just to get, you know, RGB mattes and my depth and whatever. It didn't do embedded EXRs at that point, and maybe all that's changed. But functionality and ease of use, yeah, it was cool. Come on. Oh my god. You're fucking breaking my heart, Max. Scale the damn UV. Chad, you can also turn on relative mode at the bottom left of the UV editor so you get precise UV translation. And put 1 into 1. Bottom left. Oh, this guy? So then I'd say 0. Oh no! 1. Not. Oh, that's like if I wanted to move it though. Yeah. It's just not doing anything. That's my big issue here. It's not that it's like, if you fucking, yeah. Pixel shade, I agree with you. You want to change the move tool first. Yeah. I want it to scale though, is my problem. You fucking piece of crap. Alright. Move. No, not really. This thing sucks. Yeah, this is doing UDIMs. It's super awesome. Dude, seriously, undo. Alright. So this is why I do shit like this, like, just dirty and I don't really care. Because you try to make it pretty and nice, and it just doesn't work. You need to click on the button first. This button? Oh, I see. Okay. So if I say, like, 0... So go to 1. There we go. Okay. That works. Sweet. Cool. See? Learn something every day. Alright, so let's just scale this bastard. Let's see if it will. And then we'll use Jerry's awesome technique. But first, you have to painfully scale the rat bastard. Oh, I fucking went too far, I know it. Oh, I definitely went too far now. This looks like a little old lady knitting like a sweater, and she's got a big fucking hat. Scale down. And she doesn't want to scale down. Oh, fuck off. I just don't care. Just get in the box. And we can rotate this one a little bit. No! Oh my god, I see it. Ah, you cheeky fuck. There we go. Stop and don't move. Okay. And then we want to go 1, and we want to go 1. Bam! Alright. We're going to save. Buy new Titan for faster work. I know, right? If I just spend $300,000, yes, everybody donate to me, and then I will buy a $300,000 or $500,000, whatever it is. I think they're even more than that. Titan to do this work on, for sure. All right, come here. And maybe there's some other fast way. God, I want to say there's like a scale 2 thing. This is just the worst. I don't want to reshape. I just want it to scale it. Come on. There we go. No! Next being crappy, you have to have 100 Titans and it will be choppy. Yes, unfortunately. This one's like a dog wearing a ghost outfit. It's like a little terrier or something like that. He's got a little tail, he's got his ears, and he's wearing a ghost costume. Come on. Ooh. Stop. And waiting. I'm literally sitting here waiting for it. Come on. Just go over ever so slightly. This is just unbelievable that they can sell this. Look, I want to make a product like this. Sorry, Autodesk, but really fucking busted my balls here. Come on. I'm gonna call that close enough. I think I'm in it. Oh my god. I'm just barely enough not. Not enough to just piss me off. Come on. Alright. Perfect. Done. Try using the pack normalize feature under arrangement elements next to the word padding. Yeah, but that'll put them all in the one tile. And I guess, yeah, if I've got only one selected, let's... You fucking dick. Not you, Jerry. Alright. Where is it? Laugh out loud. For each UV chunk, yeah. Yeah, I think pack UVs will work on just the selected UV. So where is that one again? Under arrange elements. Arrange elements. Pack normalize, you think? Pack normalize feature. Let's find out. Oh, you suck so much. I think that works to crash your scene. I mean, really, like, this is so sad. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Might think a little. Let's see. I bet it crashed. Oh, oh. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay. Why it had to think so much for that, I don't know, but then let's go 1 and 3. Or no. 2 and 1. Now I've got to do like math and subtract 1. Solve me, boys. By all means. Alright. And then let's grab this guy. And pack normalize. Wait. Wait for it. Something will happen. That's cool. Yeah, I don't ever use that feature. I mean, I really try to UV as little as possible. Come on. It's painfully slow. We could be, like, simulating a motherfucking waterfall right now. Faster than it takes for this thing to move this little packet of 20,000 faces over, not even, because the whole thing is 70,000 faces. So what is this, like 7,000 faces maybe? So in the amount of time that it takes it to move it from there and scale it to there, like, just insane. Alright, so now we want to go I want to go 2. Swing. Alright, and now we can kind of grab like a cluster of things, because really at this point, you know, I want to make sure I've got like this. Yeah, and I've got that in one of these pockets here. And then this face here. And again, he's in the old granny knitting a sweater pocket. So the rest of these are going to be like branches and stuff like that. Let's see what this guy is, just to make sure that he's not in like a hero location. That guy's fairly important. So again, we'll normalize that guy as well. So pack normalize. It's quite a heavy mesh. No, it's not. Don't make excuses for it. Later, Dave. Have a good night. Come on. And then these branches, I'll just grab like clusters of those, pack normalize to these guys, and scale them up and put them in, you know, their respect other UDIM areas. And then at that point, we've got UDIMs to take out to Mari. And now each one of these can be, this can be 8K, this can be 8K, this can be 8K, and I'll put a couple other little things over in this area. Not to say that I'll leave this guy all alone, but that's the basic the basic idea. And 2, 3. All right, and what's this one? It's fairly important. What's this guy? All right, and this one that I already did. Where's this guy? Sorry, I'm just hunting for a couple of these. Okay, so I have a couple now. I'm gonna grab. They're like lower branches. And let's see how this does. Figure your shit out. Now technically, as I recall, this will rotate. Oh, damn it. See, I should have put rotate. I should have checked rotate on. I have used this. It's just been a long time. Because, yeah, this guy, I'm going to have to do it again because I'm going to rotate so they line it up as best as possible. And there are some hand gestures with that that are pretty important. You can't see them, but very important. Come on. Yeah, see, that's not exactly what I was looking for. But I do want them to be... I am going to add this guy into that mix. Because they're all like these lower guys, right? And I want them all to have about the same resolution. I don't want one to kind of stand out above the rest. So I'm going to do it again. The most anticlimactic part yet. There could be nothing more unexciting. Come on. And then building up the texture. Now, the V-Ray HDRI loader as a V-Ray 3 does actually support UDIMs, and there is a little flag that you can give it. You can tell it like asterisk UDIM, and it will know, you know, when you bring in your stuff from Mari, that this is coming in as a UDIM, and you know, treat it as such. However, it's kind of wonky and it doesn't always work. I've had it like in a scene and everything was happy and working, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't recognize anymore. So the way I'm going to end up setting this up is actually using the old school method, which is a series of composites all up on top of each other with UV offsets per UV. Per UDIM. It's more of a pain in the ass, and I don't really want to do it that way, but I do know that it will work and it will be reliable. And I'm not going to end up with like one day none of my UDIMs work. Alright, let's see what these guys are. And the branches, you know, it's it becomes less and less of an issue here. Let's get this guy in the mix as well. And pick up some of these. Serious. It's not shift, yes. Pick up some of these guys as well. And pack again. I'm really surprised that there aren't more people watching. I mean, with crashing however many times we did, we definitely took a big took a big chunk out of the viewership there. If it crashes 3 or 4 times, that'll do it. And then, you know, watching this, just truly gripping UV layout. This is, I mean, I think, like, you know, CSI murder porn, it's got nothing on UV layout. If you haven't seen the South Park murder porn episode, I definitely recommend checking that out. Regarding using multiple UDIMs. Neil Blevins, yes, he's very good. Copy link. And, prick. Say human model. Yep. And then, yeah, so this is using the composite technique that I'm talking about. But the cool thing, and the thing that I was really excited about, was the new workflow with the V-Ray HDRI loader. You wouldn't have to do any of that. You just put, like, I think it's asterisk UDIM at the name of the texture, and it goes and it finds every single one of them. It's fucking sweet. 3 and leaving so soon? Good night, man. We're so close. I know how to entice the crowd. It's just gripping shit right now. This is what it's like. You want to work in a big studio, and you get to do exciting stuff like this. It really is, like, I mean, what you've seen today, this is a typical day. I come in, get a cup of coffee, sit down, start to do something, it fails, and then I end up like, why the fuck are you failing? For the next 2-3 hours. Finally get that working, go into another application or try to do another thing, it fails, start working, or then it's on to like problem solving that. Then you get into some like monotonous thing like this where it's like, alright, now you gotta lay out the UVs and whatnot. The amount of time where I'm like sitting and sculpting or sitting and really like tweaking something, it's actually pretty minimal. And when you do have those times, it's like, you know, it's like pure joy. You relish in those. But it's like with anything, if you cycle and you know, or mountain bike or anything, you've got to do like a big hills and stuff around here before you get to do the climb, which is, you know, the part, or the downhill, which is the part that's just like really fun. And the downhill goes by, you know, in a matter of minutes, and it took you an hour to get all the way up the hill, or 2, depending on how big the hill is. Okay, so now I've got some UDIMs. Let's close that because I'm sick of that. And I'm gonna save that. Oh, it's, yeah. Okay, so it's 10:30. I am going to figure out why Zbrush is being such a cheeky fuck. And try to get that, because obviously I need that displacement to work. It's kind of important. What I don't want to do is bring over, you know, a 5 million poly mesh. So we're not going to do that. I'll get this gonna work. And then it's just a matter, I'm not going to change the topology. I can just bring in the mesh and put, you know, new UVs on this, and that's not really going to hurt the UVs that I've created here. It's not a big deal. So, you know, that can stay. It's not going to hurt my workflow. Looks like no sleep for Angry Polys tonight. So it's not really, this is not really destructive at this point, unless I find some other problem, in which case I'm going to have to do the UDIM thing over again, which, as you can imagine, is not going to be my favorite thing to do. So, that being said, do you guys have any questions? I mean, you know, you could have asked them over the last hour while you were watching me painfully fucking move 70,000 faces in the UV editor with amazingly, miraculously slow speed. But don't worry, guys. The viewport performance for 2015 or 2016 is much improved. Yeah. I'm sure. Alright. Let's call this guy Zbrush, or Hero Tree Base. I don't mean to like totally bag on Autodesk. It's really, it's not fair. I shouldn't. So, it's you know, you can't do everything right. So, and that's not to be like, that's not to be a prickish statement. It's just some things are gonna fall through the cracks. So, the stack. Can't wait to find out. I wonder what they yeah. At any rate, so I think I'm going to leave it with that. We did finally get out of Zbrush. We are going to go over to Mari and paint some textures now. That is the next step. Get the displacement working, and we're going to get all the detail back, which will be super nice when we render this thing, and then get some textures going and start shading this guy. And obviously I'll bring the other branches back in, get the leaves on, all of that. So, you know, today we kind of finally took our base mesh, right, out of ZBrush, made sure it has UVs, and brought it over to Max, set up UVs for displacement, UV map channel 1, and a second map channel 2, that will utilize UDIMs for Mari, so we can paint lots of high high resolution textures. Everything now is entirely destructible. Come back next year. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're going. That's what we got accomplished today. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to call it a night here. And yeah, thank you for coming out. Thanks for joining. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do so. Like on Facebook. And yeah, thanks a lot. Sorry that it broke out so many times today, and I'll take care of that on the side and make sure ZBrush is behaving.